What's up, tribe? Thank you for being here and welcome to my channel. Today's post is titled Order. As this is a dialogue between Matias and his higher self, I'd be referring to Matias as me and to his higher self as I am. Me. One of the main characteristics of the sign of Virgo is order. Put the order. Arrange everything in its place. Have a certain coordination. What would it be then to have order on an emotional level? I am. Order is the ability to unite and connect different agents of isolated origin, making them coincide in the same line of time and space, to give them a functional harmony. Virgo, for the Northern Hemisphere, is a harvest time. The constellation was at its peak during the time when farmers and peasants had to start reaping what was sown. Thus, this constellation was giving the shape of a woman who gathers wheat, which is Mother Earth, giving us his fruit to create the food that will keep people alive during the dry or winter season. One of the fundamental tasks of the woman during the harvest was to separate the chaff from the wheat. That is, to ensure that the harvested grains, whatever they may be, can be stored in a practical way and ready to be used, without the rest of the dried plant. But in turn, that straw would be used for other functions during the winter. So nothing was wasted, but was managed in an orderly fashion. Each part of the plant or animal that the farmer had produced was arranged according to its function. This gave the connotation to this constellation that it brings us order and life from Mother Earth. Me. And Virgo. Why the concept of virgin? I am. Virgo is virgin in Latin, and it comes from the Indo-European word, which means to work. Origin of the word work in English, to work. It is time to work the fields, to work, especially, as I said, the detailed task of separating the chaff from the wheat, carried out by women, especially young women. Many of the tasks carried out in relation to freshly harvested food, such as fruits and milking, were believed to be better achievable by women who had not yet had sexual intercourse, or who were not in periods of fertility, such as menstruation, since it was believed to be able of damaging food and rendering it useless. This is why the purity of the harvested food workers were known as the virgins, that is, the virgins. Me. So it had nothing to do with the Christian story of the Virgin Mary, nor directly related to sexuality. I am. No. However, there was a certain sexual relationship in the subject. During the winter, nothing could be done outside, only work inside the house. The men went hunting, and the women worked in the houses. To ensure the survival of the clan, the time of the constellation Virgo was a good time to get pregnant. In this way, it was anticipated that the birth of the new members would arrive during the spring, a better time to give birth. At the same time that this was allowed, that by the month of September, women could repeat the harvest cycle without problems. Me. Life seemed to be very calculated in relation to the field, to the earth, with well-defined traits. Today we might think that this form of order is very macho. I am. It wasn't. That organization was called survival. When there was no supermarkets or agricultural producers, when everyone knew where the food came from because each one produced it, there was a different consciousness of organization in which the jobs were divided and ordered in such a way that it could allow the family to transcend. Living in relation to the rhythms of nature is totally the opposite of life today. This is why many retrograde thinkers, that is, they think as in the past, compare by saying that to return to the roots, one must live as before, where men and women occupied their places. But that doesn't work in an Aquarian context, where ideas go above the ground. Virgo, earth sign, implies taking into account every detail that constitutes the movement, the environment to build life, to maintain motherhood, to maintain the order and balance of things. At the time when if you did not work the land, you would die, the order was not set by the man or the woman, but by hunger. And hunger requires leaving art and ideology aside and being practical and concrete. You can be very liberal if you want, letting everyone do what they want. However, when there's hunger, if everyone leaves their place for an idea, death will be inevitable during the winter. I understand. This is why Virgo costs us so much, because today we live in a society of idealisms coming from Pisces on the way to Aquarius, in which we cannot conceive of living for survival, but for dreams and ideas. And this happens both outwards and inwards, right? I am. In the outer world, Virgo reminds us that Mother Earth has cycles, and that if you do not respect those cycles, she will take care of destroying what you do. But not from the attack, but by showing you that you cannot go against it. The natural cycles of life. Respecting the cycle of time and space. Being attentive to how the world moves, to the rhythms of life, does not mean reliving as in ancient times and going back culturally, but knowing how to take advantage of the force of the environment, recognize its potential, and instead of moving around ideologies, relying on biology. No idea is valid if you do not respect the laws of the world in which you live. Therein lies the crisis of your present time, in which utopian ideas and dreams were projected beyond reality. They built in their minds a new paradise beyond religion and even faith, in which you have devised a civilization where everything's possible, forgetting that the earth has its times for everything. You have broken the balance of the earth, creating instability, disarming the logic of the time cycles of the moon and the sun, ceasing to live according to solstice and equinoxes, and building unreal times with non-existent and totally impractical endings of years. You have denied nature when you are nature. You cannot escape the lunar cycles, much less women, and men cannot escape the cycles of the sun. The constellations did not mark only the astrology of personality, but the astronomy of daily life, the seasons, the dry and humid seasons, the winds, the ocean currents, the cycles of births, the feminine and masculine qualities. All are biological programs of order and natural harmony of Mother Earth. When ideas go against these rhythms, chaos, crisis, destruction are generated. But it gives the impression in all your speech that to live in order, it is necessary to live again to the rhythms of the earth. And this would imply a very limiting society in the sense that, I don't know, today say, for example, that women should live again according to their menstrual periods. Sometimes it sounds very patriarchal. I am. Why does it sound patriarchal? Me, because it's like saying that for there to be order, women should go back to living with the rhythm of the earth, and men too, creating the feeling that they could not do anything else or transform and occupy different places. I am. Your mind has adorned the facts with falsehoods. One of the great errors of ideology is that it just destroys any real argument for transformation, since the idea is a belief and it will defend itself to death. The earth is one that evolves and always adapts to change, not ideology. Whatever it may be, today you have political parties and cultures that continue to defend old-fashioned ideas when the earth has already overcome them. Me, I eat? Again, I don't know if this is a way of saying how so in Spanish or if it's a mistranslation from the website. But let's just keep it as I eat? Question mark. I eat. I am. For example, the advice, is it winter? Is it cold? Put on a coat? Makes you patriarchal. Me, I don't think so. I don't see the relationship. I am. Well, the same thing happens to me when you consider that respecting the cycles of nature is a limiting and patriarchal idea. The advice to put on a coat does not limit where you are going. It does not judge what you're going to do, where you are going to go, what your intentions are. It only tells you, in a pragmatic way, it is cold and it is a reality. Therefore, the advice is to bundle up. Virgo reminds us as that mother who knows what is going on in the world and reminds you that no matter where you go or what you do, prepare well for the trip. Nature does not limit either men or women. It only tells them that there are cycles and that going naked in winter or warm in summer is counterproductive. The concept, go against the natural order, has been brought about by religious and cultural ideologies, destroying the word order. Today, this concept is identified with the military, with the repressive, hierarchical, with the control of some over others. You have a very wrong idea of the concept of order. Me, what would be the real one? I am. The one I mentioned before, unifying by coherently connecting agents of different origins so that they are functional in a specific time and space. Neither the origin nor the nature nor the objective of the agents is judged. The order only seeks that they are functional among themselves, logical and practical. Separating the straw from the wheat is to realize the attributes of each thing and order them to be functional. Religion took possession of this phrase to speak of evil and good, as if the wheat chaff were bad or useless. However, order is not to separate or judge the use, but to recognize its capabilities and practicality. Just as on a social level today, you live in external chaos due to this mistaken concept of what order means. You have also projected it towards the internal world with a very Aquarian phrase, I do what I want. Me, what would that be? I am. That your inner world uses all the time to deny what it is not like, calling it the chaff of the plant, or what it does like or dream of as wheat and fruit. You forget that the straw is what will nourish the soil for the next harvest. Speaking of emotions, the denial of low emotions and impulses, and the search to feel happy, to live on dreams and projections. Ideology has kept them from analyzing what you have inside. Therefore, the work of Virgo is to analyze, to recognize the potential of all that is within, that I deny, that I do not see, and what I have conceptually enhanced in myself. Think of your chakras as the grains of wheat, or the flowers of the sunflower, or the fruits of a tree, and the branches, straw, and leaves as those that connect them to each other. You must search deep within to be able to identify each of the functions of your inner being. Discover what ideology or survival you have denied. And thus, when you see it, learn to manipulate it. When you understand what you're capable of doing, you will be able to nurture others who join you, your family and group, healing the bonds that you have created, which will allow you to feel the greater flexibility and understand the energy cycles that make you up, with which you can express incoherence from the pulse of your emotional being. Me, it is the process that we have done throughout the emotional week. Separate the straw from the wheat as Virgo does. I am. Everything we have analyzed on our emotional level is just that. In this way, you can understand the natural potential within you. Learn to take advantage of it by not running away from it because of your ideas and expectations. The hard work of the field, of getting your hands dirty and meticulously taking the hours of a systematic and repetitive task, such as writing, pointing, ordering concepts, is a fundamental process if you want to survive in the cold winter of the soul. You will have clarity of the food that you have harvested on your emotional and sentimental path. You will know how to use them, give them a meaning. You will understand what it means to bundle up, to go out during the winter. Because no matter how much you believe in an eternal summer, the cold will eventually freeze you, and you will not get very far. Virgo is that mother who incessantly asks you the questions. Where are you going? Did you grab the coat? Don't forget the document. Did you eat well? Did you do your homework? What grade did you get? Did you tidy up your room? Did you wash the dishes? Me, well, we all know those phrases. We all have a mother. I am. There lies the true order. It is asking the question, finding the consequence and coherence between all the things you do. Think and feel. Free yourself from the prejudice that you have of order and recognize that it is there to help you go further by understanding the contexts in which you will move and the tools that you will carry on your journey. Me. So, what's the assignment for today? I am. Do you live in order with yourself and with the environment that surrounds you? Write those things in which you recognize that there is no order in your life. Identify them. Make them aware. Me. Done. It has been an intense week of emotions. I am. It is important to understand what you feed the actions of your life with. Without good fuel and food, you will not get anywhere. Analyzing is the key to bring order to your life. Always ask yourself the right questions. What? Why? And for what? Me. I am order and coherence.